started crying. My mother said, "Quite immediately, don't say a word." And that's what I remember. Anyway, we arrived in Kushan, and the reason for her coming there was to persuade my grandparents to come with her to Israel. Money was no object, and she had a plan to buy them a house in Ramat Gan, which at that time was a little village, and they live happily after. But they said no, they lived in Lita all their lives, and they have good neighbors, and they weren't ready. For 4 months we stayed there, the summer holidays until after Yom Tov, after Simchat Torah, but we couldn't persuade. And that was in 37. Of course, I don't know if it's in 39 or 50 or 40. The Lithuanians collected all the Jews gathered all the Jews in the shul. Among them, my grandmother, an uncle, and his family. 2 daughters escaped. That's how we know. And they burned them there. My grandfather, they dragged to town behind a horse, and he died while he was dragged by a horse. Anyway, I always imagined that I remember the town, but it was not natural. I was 11. I was only 4 months there. But I told Anat, I will draw a map of the town and you go by yourself. She said, no, you'll come with me. Anyway, when we arrived now, I said to the driver, drive slowly. And as we pass, I cried, here is the house. And here we sat on a bench with my grandfather. It was the first house in the shtetl. Now there are other houses there, but it was on a corner. The house is there, painted green with red shutters, but the house stands there. Where the gate was, they had a huge garden of fruit trees. The garden is not anymore, it's all wild, but the place is there, and even the signs of the wall around it. The gate where my grandfather had a horse and a buggy and all the grain coming in and all the storms are still there, but they put bricks on it, but you can see it. And I mean, we looked in the window at the back, here was the kitchen. And I remember sitting with my grandfather on a market day, on a bench, and all the farmers coming in. Everybody knew my grandfather. And my grandfather used to talk to everyone and try his goods. They used to go to the marketplace. And I was sitting there with him. Anyway, the house is there, and we met neighbors, a man that said that house really belonged to Jewish people, opposite, and the father, it belongs to his father now, and his father gave it to one of his brothers. So that was really a sign that this is the house. I mean, I made no mistake because I started shouting, this is it, this is it.
Yeah, David spoke to the Lithuanian to him.
Yes, David spoke to the Lithuanian, and he said that this was a Jewish home, and his father lived there. Anyway, we continued along this main road, and I described what we are going to see, and exactly that, although it's changed, buildings and so on, but exactly like that. I said, we'll come to a T-junction. On the right will be the police station. On the right will be a little hotel, which was called the guest house. I had my 11th birthday there, so my grandmother collected all the Jewish girls and made a party for me. So one of them was the owner of the hotel. The police station is no more there. There is another official building. The hotel is not there, but there's a different building there. And on the other side was the avenue where they went spaziering on Saturday. It's still there. Really, I remember, it was amazing. I said, that must be the Gaon, because otherwise how can I remember? Anyway, I had another grandfather there, but they came to Israel before. And his brother remained as the manager of a bank, a Jewish bank in Kushan. And I went and I said, here was my other grandfather's house, but it wasn't anymore there. But the bank was there, but not the same bank. And there was a bank in that building there. But then I started looking for the marketplace. And it was a huge place where all the carts and the horses came on the market day. Couldn't find them. So Boris said, you know, it is the park. They made a park out of it. And he said the shul was on the right-hand side. I looked at the place and I said, you know, this is the marketplace because those buildings I remember, but the shul was on the left-hand side. And we went there, and that is where the shul burned down with all the Jews in it. The school is still there standing. And what did they build in the place of the shul? A fire station. That is very appropriate, a fire station. And of course when we came, all the firemen came out to look at us. But they were young and they didn't remember anything. Maybe they knew, but they didn't remember. And one of them said, there is an old woman upstairs, it'll take her time to get down because with a stick, and she'll remember. She walked down and she showed us where the mikveh was, and she showed us which I didn't know, she showed us where they made the cheese. There was a famous cheese the Jews in Kushan made. I remember the cheese, but I didn't know where they made it. And she knew my grandfather. Boris talked to her, and she said, yes, Kaganas that lived at the end of the town. This is the house I found. But then we said to her, I mean, not me,